Here we are, back at it. You guys are listening to Joe Rogan's favorite podcast, The Artistry of, hosted by the son of Ares, the nephew of Athena. I am him. He is I, and I am him. We're back at it. And I was checking the growth, checking the numbers, and it was looking good. It was the podcast is definitely looking good. So I just want to thank you guys. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. That's like the best part of that song. Is that little break that Oh my goodness. That thing goes hard. Come on. You gotta love that song. That's just classic TV songwriting right there. Like, I don't even know if I'm sure that song just wasn't done for the Golden Girls TV show. I'm sure maybe they got a couple more verses. Now that you've been my friend, right? I'm sure there's like 2 and 3 more verses. I need to add that to my friend, to not my friends list, but my listening. What is it? What is it called when you listen? My playlist. Yes, I need to add that song to my playlist. And I mean, just when I think of Golden Girls, I don't even think of Betty White. But I guess maybe she was the last one, so that's why they kind of just hold her up. They like, yo, Betty White, right? But yeah, I definitely just want to thank you guys for checking it out. You know, look, it could just been those past couple of weeks, but it has been consistent. So, just a consistent growth. So that's really good. So one of the things that I do want to make note of if you're listening to this on YouTube, you're listening to it on the Bo Miles YouTube page. I am going to create a podcast page, so that's where all the uploads are going to be. So if you're listening on YouTube, I think it's probably like maybe 5 to 7. I don't know if it's 7 of us on YouTube that listens to the podcast on YouTube. Because I feel like it's audio only. That's why it's not as big. So most of the people who listen to it, they're probably at work or, they're doing other things. I would say they're probably they're tied down to a desk and chair at the cubicle. And they're crunching some numbers, and they got us pulled up, right? And it's low because you just never know what I'm gonna say. So you definitely don't want your boss, just going by and, oh my gosh, Ted, what are you listening to? Like, so yeah, that's gonna be moving to its own channel, the Artistry of channel, right? So I'm gonna do that in 2 episodes. So this is the announcement, and we'll make it final by the next episode, right? So that way, give everybody all three of us a chance to to subscribe to the podcast channel on YouTube. And eventually, once the numbers get beefy, my friend, then we'll stack. We'll go and step it on up to a video format on YouTube, right? But we'll do that once the numbers get a little bit more beefy. So that's the main thing. Just thank you guys, and then we'll be creating the Artistry of channel. Now the reason is as I'm learning more and more about YouTube, then the different aspects of a channel, like a variety channel, it really kills the momentum of that channel. When you have gaming, you have reactions, you have giveaways, you have challenges, all on one channel, then the YouTube algorithm, they don't know which way to go. So that's why you have to really stick with one thing and just keep it that way. So on the Bo Miles channel, these episodes are maybe, let's say, these episodes are like an hour, 2 hours long, right? So that's going to kill the movement, the retention. Because if you're looking, like, if you come to that channel and you're looking for reactions, you're looking for different reaction videos, and then you come across this, and as soon as you listen for maybe a few seconds, you'll listen for, I would say, a second. Maybe I would give you probably about 5 seconds, but I think most people listen for a minute. So you listen to this for about a minute, and you're like, oh man, I'm really not trying to do no podcast. I'm really trying to watch a video, right? I'm trying to watch, and there, I'll be shucking and jiving. I'm your private YouTubing for money. YouTube, whatever you do, right? I'm just your YouTube whore, right? I'm just trying to entertain you. Are you not entertained, right? So you're going to click off after a minute. Like, when you lock in on a podcast, I think most of the time, a solo man podcast, I don't think you just fall into it on YouTube, because especially if it's audio only. It's audio only. Like, I'm not trying to entertain you. So after a minute or two, you're going to click off. And that's what happens, and that's fine. But it's actually killing the momentum of the channel, right? Whereas if it is the podcast channel, right, and you see that this is a podcast channel, when you click on it by accident or whatever, you're like, okay, right? So then as we build up our subscribers on that channel, we know, okay, look, we have 5 listeners. All right, we have 5 listeners. So, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually divide out all of my different channels. So the different styles of videos, they're going to be getting their own channel. So that way, it's just real specific, real bullseye to the point, right? So we got that. Then we have the lighting. I have to address, because the camera settings is on like 3400 for the ISO, right? That's high. That's a lot of noise, right? That's going to be pretty real grainy. Whereas you want your ISO at, really you want it at 100, but depending on your lighting, that's when you start to bump it up, and you change your settings around. So all of my videos, I've been using my Canon 7D, but that's ancient, and it's crazy that that is ancient. I mean, I paid probably like 26, almost $3,000 for that camera. It was the camera, and I got it. It was the camera, a couple lenses. I think I got it with a bundle. And this is the crazy thing. Like, cause back in the day, and we talking, that camera probably came out. It might have been 10 years. It might have been like 10 years ago. It's crazy. But, when it came out, that's, I got it. It was mainly just a photography camera back when your boy was into photography and learning the ropes of photography. And it had a video feature, and people were doing movies and stuff, but they shoot movies on the iPhone now. So eventually I'm going to get a different camera. Now I had a red camera. And those of you who know what that is, like your boy had a red camera, which I should have kept, but I sent it back just because. And this is a lesson, right? This is a lesson. I sent it back because of the tension and the pressure of somebody else. Like, it wasn't even my tension. It wasn't even my pressure, right? And But that's a lesson. Like, you gotta do stuff with you in mind. How are you going to move forward? How are you going to feel? It's not about how others feel. Because when you start doing things because of how others feel, then you're holding yourself back. I could be shooting on a red camera, which is overkill, right? But I rather go somewhere with $10,000 in my pocket versus nothing. And they say, well, you never know, you could lose some, like blah 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 blah. But you might see something you want. You might see something you want. You might see something you need, and you don't have the means to do it. Now, with this 7D, I don't have the means to have that real sharp, crispy image with the lighting that I want. So I know how to compose the set. So, like, if you guys watch my videos, my latest videos, then you'll be able to see how the shot is set up, composed. So I have two lights on me. One I have warm, one I have cold. Then in the background light, I have the background light moving, so it's like artsy and just kind of waving around. And I think that the set looks really good. It looks good, but what I'm losing is when you zoom in, that's when you start to see the noise. You can see the noise already. But I did a comparison, and it's not like it was a super difference, but there was a difference. So we're going to figure it out, right? We have to figure out the lighting and the compose. I was thinking that I could do a green screen, but ultimately I'm going to, because I have an arm that adjusts and that moves. So ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm going to be standing. So this way, I'm standing, I'm moving around. The camera is there, all the lights, all that stuff is just at a position where I'm standing. And you can kind of get my arms and my hands in there as well. So feel free to incorporate any of that stuff into your own YouTube videos. Those of you who are making videos, those of you who are not, the whole idea is just to add variety, just to keep adding a sense of flow, make it dynamic, right? So that's, that's what's going on. Let's go ahead and jump in to the episode.
Let me introduce you to Bo Miles, a unique and likable guy. Everyday life, friends and family makes up the artist's dream.
Of course, this week you've been hearing about the Oscars, so I'm really not gonna get into that. I did do a video where I talked about that, but what I will say is that you guys, you should know how to defend yourself, and you just gotta be ready for anything at all times, right? You never know, like, you just never know what somebody's going through. Like, yo, man, they about to snap. This is it. They just don't care no more. It's just whatever. You just don't know. You don't know, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of something like that. You definitely don't want to be on the receiving end of just someone just snapping, right? Because I remember so many times just as a young kid, as a youth, being in positions where it's like, man, you're just afraid. You're just like, man, you're at the whim, like, just whoever is causing this ruckus, whoever is causing this trouble. Like, and that's usually, like, that was my middle school years. Like, so I would say sixth grade, we were just running. We were just running in sixth grade. I remember I got my shoestrings took. Your boy got his shoestrings took. So it was me, Jazz, maybe, I don't know, Clinton. So it was the usual suspects. Our usual crew. Now, by this time, I want to say that so my first crew, like, they had changed. And it's not because they moved away. I think I just was I don't know. I don't know if I would say I was just getting tired of getting beat up. I don't know what was going on. But the first crew, it was me, Rob, Bradford, and I want to say maybe Steven. Steven could have been in there. And we lived fairly close. We lived fairly close. And you walking down a Lombard, and it's rough. Okay? It is rough. I mean, it's like, tell me, why are we so blind to see that's all that the ones we heard? It was like that every morning, like, oh, 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 it's been the most I life living in the gangster's paradise, right? Like, like every morning. That's how your that's your alarm. That was your alarm. Okay. Oh, 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 oh. You're like, oh man. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. That's how it was. It was crazy. So that first crew, me, Rob, and Bradford, and then I believe Steven joined the mix. And so we're all like, yo, just the sixth grade. And we're walking down, and sometimes you catch the bus. And I remember it was a school, Hampstead. That was like the rivaling middle school, which I've never been to Hampstead, but we shared a bus, and some of the kids that was going to Hampstead, because you figured so it was the number 13, and you got off the 13 and you just walked down maybe like 2 or 3 blocks. So when you got off that 13 and you're walking your 2 or 3 blocks down to school, to Lombard, you have kids that are getting on the bus that are going to Hampstead. So I'm not sure how did the zoning work on that. Like, yo, I mean, how come these kids just not walking down to Lombard? So who knows how the zoning worked there. But I'm trying to think of what other middle school, because I want to say it was like, it's probably 2 miles, less than 2 miles away. So you had all of the projects. They went, so it was like maybe 4. It was 4 different projects. Those kids were going to Lombard. I mean, Lombard, it was crazy. It was truly, it was like, yo, welcome to hell. And you figure the adults, they didn't even have structure and have enough cojones to lock down and to make sure that the kids were safe. It was just lawless. But it's like I can't even imagine that now, even with me being had been a teacher, right? Of course, it wasn't middle school, but I did a few of my interns in middle school. So I mean, I've taught middle school music, right? Which the band room, you're in a small like corner of the school. Usually the band and the gym are going to be kind of close to each other. So I remember that as far as me teaching, right? Teaching. And of course, I'm teaching in a totally reversed number situation where I want to say when I was in middle school, I mean, I'm sure there had to have been at least 1 to 3 white or not black students, but I just cannot think of those 1 or 3. It was all black. Like, I don't even think white people even wanted their kids even down in Lombard. That's just how crazy it was. So before we even get to my shoestrings getting taken from me, I have a set of skills. We got to set up that stage, that environment that this story takes place. And that environment was like the music video. It was the song, the embodiment of Gangsta's Paradise. Because I don't even believe Dangerous Minds was as hardcore as my middle school. Like my middle school, it was hardcore. It was just vicious. It was it was crazy. It really was crazy. So you get down there, we sometimes we walk, sometimes we catch the bus. You never wanted to just be on that bus line. Like with the way that the bus went, you didn't want to go there. That was just, you was just asking for trouble. Like, yo, like snipers just waiting. It was like walking through a sniper filled area. You just walking through and you just out of nowhere, you just get hit. And I remember it was Easter Monday. So this is what, like March or April. So your boy avoided, so we avoided them goons since September, right? We avoided them goons since September, just running, ducking, and hiding. And so we built up a regimen. Okay, this is how we go. This is how we walk. Definitely check your surroundings, but we was lacking that day. We was lacking. It was Easter Monday. Me, Rob, and Bradford, we're walking to school. I got my purple Hugo Boss jeans on, and I have my Bugs Bunny shirt, the one where it's the front and the back. So it might have been like the Tasmanian Devil, Bugs Bunny, and whoever else, right? And so I was looking fresh. Like this is the one time I only got one day to look fresh. I only got one day. And this was my day. So I'm walking down, I'm looking fresh, I'm feeling fresh. And out of nowhere, bang, I get cracked upside my head. Like, oops, upside your head. I said, oops, upside your head. Oops, upside your head. Oops, upside your head. I'm just getting hit, whirlwind kicks and hits from every angle, violent. And I'm like, it's like when you first start to get those, you get caught up in that Tatsumako Senbugeyaku, right? You like, and then you got to figure out where are these blows coming from, right? So you kind of get low, do hum pom pom, do da do da do do do, right? You getting low and drop. Oh, wiggle with it. You get your hands up, cover up with the damage, and then you turn around and boom, you got this huge, ugly guy, just like a troll. It's like, yo, like, aren't you too big to be like? And this is the crazy thing is, like, the size of these kids. They see like, oh man, just imagine you're looking outside like, oh, they go three little kids right there. He's like the big bad wolf. Like, yo, man, I'm gonna go get him. Like, yo, man, here it is. It's like 7 in the morning. It's like 7 something in the morning. It's probably a little bit after because we was watching like Power Rangers and VR Troopers and stuff like that. So it's like 7, 8 in the morning. You get up, you going to school, and we're talking from the attacker's perspective. I mean, you're up that early, like, yo, man, I don't feel like going to school today, man. Let me just go beat up some little kid because, I mean, this guy was like a giant to me. When I just remember, he just was huge. And then there was another guy. So it was like 2 of them. And I guess I was the big, I don't know. I don't know if I was the bigger because from me, Rob, and Bradford, like, I don't know. I can't say that I was the biggest one. Like, because that's usually how it goes. They go after the biggest one. But it could look. It was probably. Look, I was looking fresh. I was looking too fresh that day. You know, I had those Boss jeans on. I had that shirt. And they was like, yo, man, I want that shirt. Like, yo, it's big enough. He probably was like, yo, man, I'm going to just take his outfit. Like, yo, man, like, yo, we just going to beat him up and just strip him and just take his clothes. Like, I mean, I don't know what's the game plan going in on this. I've never been the attacker, right? Even when we was beating people up, like, I never just saw some people just walking, some especially little. Like I never beat up somebody that was little, never. Like I never did that. So you know, I just really got chalked that up to mental illness. Like, yo, man, these guys are freaking mentally ill. Like, yo, man, because if we're 11, like, yo, man, you gotta be like 15. You gotta be like 15, 16. Like, yo, you beating up a little kid, like, damn. You know, something. Yo, like, you mentally ill. Cause we had like one of those old thugs. We gotta just say it. Yo, dude was mentally ill. All right. You like 18? Cause he was like 18. You're like 18, hanging out with kids, like 12, 13, 14. Like, yo, man, you definitely you mentally ill, man. Like, yo, this is really no way around it. You mentally ill out this piece. You just got you wearing the illness right around your neck. Like it's a chain. Like, yo, man, you just showing people, yo, mentally ill, baby. What? Like, man, and there was a bunch of these mentally ill people just let them loose. They just let them loose. Like, yo, man, let them out there. Yo, man, let them out there. Like, yo, there. Let them out there. Like, man. So, I think Rob and Brad, like, they stopped. They stopped the car. It's like, hey, you know, those grown ass men are beating up our little friend. And so the car pulls up around, because by this time, like, they're trying to get me down, but I already know, even as I'm not even a part of the beatings. I'm not a part of that stuff, but I know you can't go down. Like, yo, do not go down to the ground. Do not go down. So, because that's when they're gonna start kicking you in your head, kicking you in your face. And you guys remember, like, yo, at the last episode when I got into it, me and my gang, when we got into it with Harford Road, like, I went down, which I didn't get knocked down. So I guess I was giving them the blues a little bit. I don't, but we both was on the ground tussling, and I know I didn't initiate the wrestling part of it, I didn't initiate the grappling phase. So, but back to the defensive side. I knew that you can't go down. Like, yo, do not fall down. So even the big, like, even, MI, mental ill, like, yo, even mental ill is he's trying to beat me and hit me and just break me down. But I'm like, Kunta out this piece. Like, Kunta. My name is Kunta Kinte. And it was another one too, so it's two of them. And they're just they're tagging me. I'm blocking what I can block. And taking the Scooby snacks, right? I'm taking it for the most part. And then this lady come and, you know, Brad and Rob, they got some lady to come and intervene. So she's like, "Get off of him. Y'all leave him alone." So she came to my defense. Random lady number 3, like, yo, man, shout out to random lady number 3. She definitely came to your boy's aid and to break up the savagery that was happening back on those Baltimore streets. Do, 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 do. Right? So she came, random lady number 3, and that's when one of the goons, the one that's closer to my size, I guess he's the one who could talk, because the biggest one, maybe he just couldn't even talk. He was a troll. Like, so I think one of the smarter goons was like, he all right. Like, yo, man, we're watching you just beat the living shit out of this little kid, man. What do you mean he all right? That's my little brother. He stole some money from my mom. So already, I mean, these goons, I mean, they just cooking up stories like, yo, like, how do you prepare for this type of stuff? Like, how do you prepare? Because, I mean, really, that's just like some bitch ass shit right there. It really is. There's no way really there's no other way to label it. We're gonna try to fall back from using the N-word, which this is the time that we use it the most. Middle school, you just coming straight out of elementary. You feeling like a big boy. You just dropping all types of bombs. Right? You dropping all types of bombs. And they just cooking up a story. Yo, he stole some money from our mom. This is my little brother. Like, just so you can just keep the savagery. So then, while the big one has me, right? Occasionally he'll probably throw in a jab or two, but not even jabs. It wasn't clean strikes. It was more like haymakers, hooks, right? That was the preferred striking technique of your mentally ill goons, right? It's not clean savagery. This is just all over the place. So he's trying to throw haymakers, but the good thing about people when they throw haymakers is when you cover up and they hit your wrist or they hit your hand, they hit your forearm and they hit your elbow. I mean, they can break their hand. Like, they can hurt their hand. And you can have all the adrenaline in the world, but like when you really like break your hand, hurt your hand, and then now you gotta keep using that hand just in a standard goonery situation, that adrenaline is not gonna get you through. So me looking back in hindsight, I think I definitely was blocking, doing a good job to the dumbest one, Big Dummy. So Big Dummy, he definitely hurt his hand, and I want to say that even the little one. So your boy Young Bo was defending well. All right, I wasn't fighting back, but I was defending well because then they got one of those halogen lights, those tube lights, and hit me across my leg. It was like It was just huge explosion. It was like a bomb. It was the first time that I heard or seen anything like that happen. I've never been hit with a halogen light or Tuscan, whatever one I think is a halogen, but I know it's a tube light with the gas. So I think the gas, I want to say that the gas is halogen. And when you crack it over somebody's leg, just when you just drop it, it explodes in a loud theatrical explosion. But the glass itself. Now, if they're naked and you hit them and then like slam them on the glass, then that can be very, very dangerous because you got all those little pieces of glass and go inside of a person. But remember, I had my big baggy Boss jeans on, and I had my big shirt. So I absorbed it. I didn't get cut, and after that hit, that's when they let me go, and and me, Brad, and Rob, we continued on our journey to school. Right, so we still had about another mile of treacherous terrain to traverse. Even after I just took this beating. And one of my good friends, I remember later on, he was like, "Yo, you all right?" I was like, "Yo, what?" Like, "Yo," I'm like, "What? Where was you at?" And I want to say that he maybe he was on the bus or whatever, but he was like, nah, it wasn't you. But I know that he watched me. I know he watched me get the brakes beat off of me. But like I said, look, man, your boy Young Bo was defending well. All right. So for all of my listeners, right? Because we're growing. Look, and that's the good thing about this. That's what makes me just excited to do this, is because I know that someone is listening, right? And hopefully we can laugh together, we can cry together, and we can learn a little bit together as well. So a good defense, just defending, is always good, all right? Because some of y'all some whores, right? That's what we call them back in the day. So your boy Bo was definitely a whore. Like, yo, man, I didn't want to fight. Okay, I still don't want to fight. So, but I was ready to defend, and knowing now, you can do a lot of damage just defending. Right? Somebody bigger than you, or he's stronger, and he's trying to beat you up. Like, each time that he swings, you don't even have to hit him. If you defend well enough, like, yo, you can cause him to hurt his hand. He can break his hand. And like I said, just regular goonery, they don't have the mental stamina, the endurance to keep going, right? Now, when you're in the ring and you gotta keep going, this is the championship fight. This is the championship fight. You only have a couple more rounds to go, and you break your hand. You just gotta keep. This is crazy, but you just gotta keep throwing that hammer. You just keep throwing that hammer. Eventually, it's gonna go numb. But that thing hurts you. You break your hand, and then you gotta hit somebody in the elbow. Like, yo, man, you gonna stop. You definitely, and that's when you get people, then they start, like, they'll try to kick you or do whatever. But even that, somebody kicking you, stomping you, if you're on your back and they're kicking you, like, you can grab one foot and pull that foot to you, and throw your shoulder into their leg, boom, they're going to fall. Like, that's just not, that's not a good position. And so if you guys, and I'm going to be doing some reactions to like fights like pride fighting, because they had the soccer kick, which in pride, if a person was on, like, so if you're on your hands and your knees, boom, it's go time. Somebody kicking is, look, they gonna light you up, kick you all in your face, do all types of stuff. That's what they want to do. But you'll notice, even if you watch those pride fights, that if they went down, they went to their back and they put their feet, they lift both feet off of the ground, because a person trying to kick you and stomp you, like, you don't have control. Like, if I'm the one that's on top of you and I'm just trying to stomp you, I'm trying to kick you, and you're on your back and you have both legs just up you have both legs off of the ground, right? You have both of your feet off of the ground. Like, I don't have control. Like, I do not have control. That's not a good position, and I can lose my balance. You can easily trip me up. It's just so, like, that's not a good position. Right now, of course, you're more dominant if you're the one standing up and the person is on the ground. You're more dominant, but at the same time, you are very vulnerable. You're very vulnerable when you try to kick and stomp and stuff. Like, even if you try to, like, bend over, right? You're losing that leverage. You're giving it up. You're giving up that leverage. So, as a defender, I defended well, because they just wasn't crispy. Like, they wasn't crispy with they wasn't doing a lot of jabs, just a lot of hooks, right? Just idiots, guys who don't really know what they're doing. But see, that's why these type of situations, it can only be from people who don't know what they're doing. Like, it's very rare that you're gonna get two people who know what they're doing to just go and just beat up the weak and the helpless. Like, that only happens during war, right? And that's not even it's not even about the weak and the helpless at that point. So we jump out of that situation, we get into a time of war. Well, then you're coming through, and now you're just, and we got to go back before guns with this, right? You got to go back before guns. We got to go back to Apocalypto time, which was a kick-ass movie. Apocalypto. I'm going to have to watch that. I love that freaking movie. That was my movie, guys. Like, yo, Apocalypto. Man, your boy Mel was putting in. He was putting in some good work, all right? Again, people snap. People got mental illness. People just out here. But the body of work, the work that a person can, when they contribute to society, right? We can't forget that. We gotta at least say, like, yo, it's you did a good job, man. You racist, or you're this, you're that. But that was a solid piece of art, right? That was a solid piece of whatever. And it just goes back to that mental illness, because, like, yo, how can you be together in one facet, but then on the other hand, you're just off your rocker? Like, yo, you just lost it. You're losing it, right? So that's crazy. But during these times of war, when you're going into a village, you're going into a different tribe, you're going in. So first of all, you're going to take over, right? You're going to take over, or you're going to just steal whatever they have. You've been eyeing the village. You've been eyeing this small tribe. This is still a unique position that we're talking about now, because most of the time, when you're just hunting, and just the hunter-gatherer, you're out there hunting. You're out there hunting. You're not thinking about, look, we're going to take over this village. That's normally not how it goes. Right? And this is just natural man thinking. We don't need to talk. We don't need to go back in time and find a situation. Like, we just know, okay, look, they're people, they're humans. So they got to hunt, and they come up on a tribe. You come up on a city or a town or a group, you're going to be, especially if you're outnumbered, there's just maybe 2 or 3 of y'all, you're going to be scared. Scared. That's just the way it is, because, y'all, I don't know how these people get down. I don't know if they eat people. Like, I don't know how they get down. We know that people are murderers. We know that people are crazy. So when you get a group of people together and you just leave them alone for a little bit, like, yo, approach with caution. That's just standard. That's just standard. And I think the black experience has maintained that. Because if we go into any white town or any white part in America, right, that also has a black area. Now, just in West Virginia, there have been some areas where people will be like, yo, don't go up there. Don't go in there. Don't go over there. Right? Like, there's been those areas. But whenever you go in there, nothing happens. Right? So maybe back in the 70s, back in the whatever time, right? Because usually a lot of this buffoonery comes from like middle school. Just like my story. It comes from middle school. That's where you learn this goonery behavior, and if unchecked, you just go throughout your life, and you're just an idiot. But at some point, you have to start making money, and I think once you start making money, then all of that stuff goes out the window. But an element, maybe it's always there, right? So like that man, right? And I'm sure he's probably, like I said, I'm 11. They were probably like 15, 16. Like, I just can't believe that they were 13. Like, yo, there's only 2 years. Like, yo, but even when you little like that, yo, those 2 years make a difference, right? 6th graders versus 8th graders. That's a huge difference. You didn't even hit your growth spurt yet. So those 2 years when you're a little kid, like, yo, it makes all the difference. A 6-year-old versus an 8-year-old is huge. It's a big difference. 11-year-old up against a 13-year-old is going to be a huge difference, right? So they could have been, I doubt that they was 13. It had to have been like 14, 15, 16. Like, yo, it's crazy. But when you look at the whole situation, I bet that them as older men, some of those characteristics are still there, right? Now that you're a man, the year difference doesn't matter. If you're a man versus another man, like, yo, so what I'm guessing is they're going to be, and we got to get into our FBI profiler right now for this one. So I'm going to go out on a limb and just say that they are abusing their wives, girlfriends, kids, They could even be serial killers as well. They could be serial killers. That's the extreme. That's one end of the extreme. The other end of the extreme is they are model citizens because they can't really interact with kids. Maybe they don't have any kids, or the kids that they are around, they have guardians. So you just can't go around just beating up some kids because they got parents and they got loved ones that's going to beat them up, right? So they are definitely preying on the weak. But as you become a man, like weak men are hard to come by. Like they are. They're hard to come by. Like, and this could just be me in my thinking, right? Which I'm sure that I'm projecting. But, you know, there are delusional men, right? You're going to have delusional men, but just a weak man, like just a pushover, like the type that I've seen when I was a kid, the kind that me, Brad, and Rob were like, you just don't see men like that. And like I said, like I've never just been the one to go and try to intimidate and just pick with them. So they could be around. I just don't. I never seen a reason like, yo, let me go intimidate some people. So, but that characteristic, because for you to be that big and to just beat up a little kid, like, yo, something's wrong with you. Like, something's wrong with you. So you definitely not picking on people your own size. And I ran into one of them later on. This was probably like maybe a year. A year later, I ran into the smarter one, me and a couple of the goons. So you know that's always a good story. But we'll get to that at a later time, Jobin. So we're walking down. We make it through that thrashing. And my point, just for that little tangent, was just to say that that type of stuff in the wild, like even in the wild, is going to be it's going to be just politics. Usually governs that type of stuff. And of course, you have idiots. You have just fools that's just running around, just causing mischief. They don't even know no better, right? You have people like that, but for the most part, things are calculated and things are political, even on just a tribal level, right? So that was the point there. But jumping back into my middle school days, it was just a lot of fear. So we're walking after, boom, I take that beating. We still got a mile to go. And we make it, right? We're trying to avoid, and I remember I was saying, yo, why y'all run? To Brad and Rob, and Rob I think he was like, yeah, of course. I mean, these are big guys, so of course they're going to run, right? Of course they're going to run. So I really didn't hold it against them. It was like, yo, of course they're going to run. And maybe a little bit later, maybe a couple weeks later, or a couple months, or by the summer or whatever, then I started hanging with a different crew. But still, we were still enjoying life. Like, we're not just about violence and just picking on people, right? Like I've never been on that time. I've never been on that time. So the people that I hung with, for the most part, because eventually we do get and dabble into the fear tactics of the day, right? Eventually we do dabble into that, but we don't go around just looking for innocent kids and like nah, we didn't do that. So eventually I start hanging with another group, and we started. Now we're walking, and they caught like the bus. So I remember you get bus tickets, but then the bus driver, they was like, yo, you gotta show your card, you gotta show your bus card. And I remember I made a counterfeit bus card. This the level of detail that I made. It looked like a real bus card. And I did it. It was I ripped it off the back. So you have your bus tickets back then, they were they came in a book. They came in a little booklet, and each month it would be a different color. So you had your front, and then you had the back was like anything, like just the back of a book, but they were both the same color. So I cut the back of the booklet, and then I just duplicated that front part, the cover. So the lines, all the shapes, the numbers, I just duplicated it. I mean, this thing looked legit. It looked like the real thing. Well, you're just flashing quick. I mean, if you held it in your hand, you would be like, nah, this isn't real. But if somebody just kind of waved it up and pulled it back down, you're like, all right, like it was just that detailed. It was definitely one of my proudest moments in the counterfeit game. So your boy that's how I was dabbling into the dark arts as a middle schooler. I was doing them counterfeit bus cards. And he was like, yo, Bo, he got the crispy cards. Like, yo, you need a bus card. You holler at me. And I get you set up. I get you set up for free. Not even, look, I don't even want to profit off of these counterfeit bus cards. Now the ticket, you on your own. I couldn't forge any tickets, but if you needed that bus card to validate that you owned a book, then I had you. So that's how I was dabbling. And then I remember I cracked the code to this girl's locker. And this is just by pure luck. This was just pure luck. I turned it. So I was, we were just kind of saying and playing like, I could crack a lock, right? I could crack a lock. I could break into a lock. And she was like, no, you can't. No, you can't. I was like, yeah, yes, I can. So she was like, all right. So she closed her locker, spun it 2 times or whatever, the opposite way. It was like, all right, go ahead. And I just, I grabbed it, one of those combination locks. I just turned, and I just did boom 2 times, one time. And so it was 2 times, one way, 2 times the other way, and then 1 time back the opposite way. So I did that and lifted up on the handle, and it opened like good. She was like, how did you do that? And I don't know. I just got lucky. That was just pure luck. But that it amazed everyone. The kids, they didn't know. It's like, yo, Bo could get into any locker, right? I just got lucky. I just got lucky, that's all. And so that's how your boy dabbled in that's how I was dabbling in the dark arts. I wasn't late. We're talking sixth, right? We're talking sixth grade. I wasn't late. We were always on time. Of course, we didn't beat up anybody. We were running away, and my counterfeit bus cards, and that was it. That was it. So that's it. This is going to be a short one because I'm working on that project that some of you guys, I don't know. I don't believe that I spoke on it. I don't believe I spoke on it. When was it? Last week I didn't speak on it, but I spent like almost 12. Probably I would say 10. So I spent like almost 10 hours on it yesterday, and I think I'm like halfway. So I gotta put in some more time. So it's like 2 now. I gotta at least give them a lot of time today. I really want to finish it today, post it, and then figure out a way to promote it. Right. So I want to do I want to do that today so that I can create a reaction video by Friday. So what's today? It's Wednesday. So I want to post some type of reaction video. I want to post that, let's say, what is it? I want to post it by Saturday, right? So have it at least by Friday, Saturday. I want to post that. So yeah, and with this video that I'm working on, this is going to be like a huge series that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be a huge series. It's going to be me animating the stories that I tell. But because I'm animating them, I'm also going to throw in some. They're also going to be exaggerated for effect, just for dramatic effect. So I'm going to be exaggerating some of these stories, but I'm working on my first one, and I'm like halfway. I'm halfway done. I'm halfway done with that. So we're going to stop now, and that way I can work on it more, and just try to finish it today. So hopefully I can have it ready for you guys to see it by the next episode. So here we are back at it again. Reese's PCs. Oh yeah, and look, man, you guys just have a good week. All right, have a good week. Definitely, thank you for checking out the podcast and supporting the podcast just by listening and just downloading. Just definitely want to thank you guys for that, and just get it in this week. Just relax, maintain, right? Hang in there. Be back. I'm gonna be waiting for you next weekend or whenever you listen. Right? Whenever you listen, whatever day you listen to your podcast, and I'm queued up. Whatever day. Look, I'm waiting for you on that day. All right. So if you listen to me on a Thursday, I'm gonna be waiting Thursday. All right. You listen to me Friday, Saturday, whatever day you listen to me, I'm gonna be waiting for you. So now I got my window open, and there's my neighbors like walking out back. So I feel like a creeper right now. I feel like I'm creeping. So I'm gonna definitely close this curtain out. Look, man, your boy just trying to record an episode of the podcast. I'm not out here creeping. Creepy, crawly, creepy. So there it is. Reese's PCs.